Why do so many of us put on masks that hide who we really are in social situations? Is it because we're afraid of being rejected, or because we want to be accepted that makes us put on these masks? This widespread tendency to put other people's approval over our own authenticity has a big effect on our mental health and confidence. It's a sign of a deeper problem. Our battle to stay true in a world that values conformity over honest speech. Epictetus, a wise Stoic philosopher, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak." But how often do we silence our own voices to conform to what we think others want from us? We say yes to extra work we don't want to do, we laugh along with jokes that don't make us laugh, or we hide our true feelings to keep up appearances of harmony. Each act of conformity hurts our self-respect and inner peace. A constant rejection of our personal truths doesn't just make us feel bad for a short time, it creates a deep sense of self-doubt. We start to question our own values and decisions, which feeds into a cycle of anxiety dominated by the fear of being judged. This fear can stop us from acting in an honest way, trapping us in a cycle of stress and unhappiness. So, how can we break free from trying to please other people and build a life that honors who we really are? Today we're going to look into this question, but first, I want to give you a little challenge. Watch this movie all the way through so you don't miss any important Stoic philosophy lessons. Come with us on our journey to learn deep lessons that will help you live a truly satisfying life. Number 1. How to understand people-pleasing. People-pleasing, a word that's often used in everyday speech, is more than just a quirky behavior. It's a deep psychological pattern in which people put the happiness and approval of others ahead of their own needs. This tendency has many psychological causes, such as low self-esteem, fear of being rejected, and sometimes deeper problems like past traumas or the need to be in charge in settings that are hard to predict. It could be a survival strategy or a counterproductive one, but many people in today's society believe that being dependent on others is the only way to feel safe and included. As a result, many of them act in ways that make others feel good, and a shocking 95% of those who identify as people-pleasers do this to some degree. Pleasers say that this trait has a big bad effect on their confidence. This high percentage isn't just a number, it shows a common problem. People don't say no or stand up for themselves because they're afraid of being rejected or making other people angry. So why do so many people feel this way? To please, people fight with confidence. The answer lies in the fact that constantly sacrificing oneself and holding back one's own wants and views is tiring and destroys one's sense of self-worth and identity. On top of that, people are always afraid of being rejected, which makes this even worse. Pleasers also plays a big part in their lack of confidence. People often think, if I don't do this for them, they won't like me, which is a dangerous belief for any relationship, personal or professional. This fear is based in reality, as social psychology has shown. People pleasers are more likely to have social anxiety and sadness, both of which are closely linked to having low self-esteem and confidence, according to research. What does people-pleasing mean? Explain what people-pleasing means. Putting the wants and needs of others ahead of your own, often at the cost of your own health and happiness. Stress that people-pleasing can be caused by many things, like low self-esteem, fear of being turned down, or a need to be liked. How to spot behavior that makes others happy. Talk about usual signs of trying to please everyone, like having trouble saying no, feeling bad about standing up for oneself, always looking for approval from other people, putting the wants of others ahead of one's own, even if it hurts oneself. Figuring out what caused the problem. Look into the real reasons behind. People-pleasing behavior, fear of getting into a fight or argument, need to be accepted and praised. Don't believe in yourself or your worth. Talk about how things that happened in the past, like how your family worked or the pressures of society, can make you more likely to try to please others. What it means for mental health and relationships. Look at how people-pleasing hurts your mental health and your ties with other people. A lot more stress and anxiety, getting angry at other people, having trouble making real links, lack of ability to set safe limits. Give examples or case studies to show how these processes work. Tips on how to stop pleasing others. Give useful suggestions on how to break out of habits of people-pleasing. Learn to set limits and be assertive. Put self-care and self-compassion first. Challenge false ideas and negative self-talk. Get help from family, friends, or a doctor you trust. Encourage people to think about themselves and keep working on making their relationships better. To make real bonds and keep your own health in relationships, you need to know how to stop people-pleasing. Over-focusing on meeting other people's wants at the expense of one's own is an example of people-pleasing behavior. It can be bad for your mental health and your relationships with other people. This lesson will go into more detail about what people-pleasing is, what its usual symptoms are, what causes it, how it affects mental health and relationships, and how to stop doing it. People can make deeper connections with others and live more fulfilling lives by understanding the roots of people-pleasing and learning effective ways to set limits and put self-care first. Number 2. What Stoics say about being real. Stoic philosophy, a school of Hellenistic thought, says that people should live in peace with nature and that developing personal virtues is the best way to be truly happy. This old knowledge says that moral virtue is the only thing that is good, and moral vice is the only thing that is bad. Everything else, like money, health, and even other people's opinions, is not inherently good or bad. This basic Stoic belief stresses how important it is to be true to yourself and live your life according to your rational and social nature. The Stoics say that being real comes from living by reason, which is in line with our nature as rational beings. They say that by focusing on one's own values instead of the shifting sands of external approval, one can reach a stable and serene state of mind. This inward focus is important for developing personal integrity and self-respect, which are lost when one lives primarily to please others or meet their expectations. In his personal writings, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, gives us deep insights into how to follow Stoic ideals. In the Meditations, he talks about how important it is to think about yourself and take responsibility for your actions. He says that you have control over your mind, not outside events. Understand this, and you will be strong. This passage shows the Stoic view that real power and authenticity come from being able to control your own actions and reactions, not from trying to control how other people see or respond to you. Big toe. Another important Stoic thinker, Epictetus, wrote a lot about authenticity in his works. He tells his students to focus on their own actions and decisions, which they can control, instead of events or opinions that they can't. For example, he famously said, "If you want to be a writer, write." This simple advice encapsulates the Stoic commitment to acting based on internal values rather than external validation. Epictetus tells his followers to define themselves by the choices and actions they make on purpose. This supports the Stoic idea that being real means living by your ideals and being rational. Stoicism also teaches that the pursuit of virtue should be steady and unwavering, no matter what pressures or situations are happening around you. This quest involves the good traits of knowledge and bravery. Justice, temperance, and courage are all things that lead to an honest and true life. For example, courage isn't just being brave in fight, it's also being brave to be yourself when other people want you to be someone else. Being fair to others and getting along with others is part of justice. But being true to yourself and not giving up on important beliefs is also part of justice. Stoics also thought that living in harmony with nature meant being open to what life had to offer. They were led by virtue and thought that people could achieve great things by lining up their deeds with their true nature. Eudaimonia is a word that is often translated as flourishing or the good life. This state isn't marked by short-term happiness or financial success, but by the peace, resilience, and satisfaction that come from living a good life and fighting the urge to please others. Stoicism is a compelling framework. It tells people to let go of the need for approval from others and focus on developing their own virtues. By doing this, they not only become more authentic, but they also make their relationships and communities better by being more honest and helpful. To reinforce this focus on authenticity, the Stoic practice of daily self-examination or reflection on one's thoughts, art, and actions helps. It lets people figure out if they are living in line with their values and what changes might be needed to keep that alignment. In essence, the Stoic focus on authenticity is about more than just being honest. It's about aligning one's life with the deep underlying principles that govern a well-lived life. This Marcus Aurelius Epicus and other Stoic philosophers taught us that authenticity is more than just being slightly true to yourself. It means committing deeply to the good and rational path that defines our very nature. By taking this Stoic view, people can live more fully. Pleasers can stop trying to get others to like them and start working on their own virtues instead. This will help them live a more genuine and satisfying life. This change is good for the person and for their community because it leads to real interactions based on virtue and mutual respect instead of fake approval. Please let us know what you think about this. Do you agree with the Stoic view on being real? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Stoicism is an old way of thinking that caught on in ancient Rome after starting in Greece. Stoicism is a way of life that focuses on developing ethics, self-control, and the ability to bounce back from hard times. Regarding being real, Stoicism can teach us a lot about how to live honestly and accept things as they are, not how we want them to be. Realities we have to face. Stoicism teaches us to accept the truths of the present moment without fighting them. Stoics say we shouldn't think about what could have been or what we wish were true. Instead, they say we should accept and love what is. By understanding the way things are, we can focus on what we can change and do something good. Developing inner virtue. According to Stoicism, developing inner qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation are part of being real. We can live a life that is in line with our true goals and ideals by following these virtues. The Stoics try to build a strong character that stays strong in the face of hardship by putting virtue ahead of outside situations. Detachment from outcomes. Outside of our control, Stoicism stresses how important it is to keep our inner peace by separating ourselves from outcomes outside of our control. Stoics say that we shouldn't base our happiness and well-being on things like money, fame, or other people's approval. Instead, they say that we should find contentment and joy within ourselves. Focusing on our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors can help us feel at peace with ourselves, no matter what is going on around us. Accepting impermanence. Stoicism helps us remember that life is temporary and that things will always be different. Stoics say that we shouldn't hold on to things that won't change or fight the natural flow of life. Instead, We should embrace uncertainty and understand that everything is temporary, understanding that everything changes over time can help us appreciate the present moment more and become stronger when life throws us curveballs. Living in harmony with nature. The Stoic philosophy says that to live in harmony with nature, we must align our actions and thoughts with the basic rules of the world. This means realizing that we are connected to everything around us and accepting our role as rational beings who can think and act in a good way. Stoics think that we can find meaning, purpose, and happiness in our lives by living in harmony with nature. To sum up, Stoicism says that to be real, you have to accept truth, work on your inner virtue, separate yourself from outside outcomes, accept that things change, and live in harmony with nature. By following these rules, we can live real, meaningful lives that are led by wisdom, strength, and inner peace. Number 3. What happens when you're not real? Behavior that isn't true to yourself, especially when it's done to please others at the cost of your own values, can have serious effects on your mental health and sense of self. As health Stoicism puts a lot of stress on living in line with your true nature and values, it can help you see these effects more clearly. The first result was loss of self-identity. It's all too easy to lose sight of who we really are when we try to please other people. Take the example of a dedicated worker who, in order to meet all of her boss's expectations, consistently ignores her own career goals and well-being. Over time, she may not be able to figure out what she really wants from her career because she's so used to putting it off. Can you relate to giving up your own dreams just to fit someone else's expectations? How often do you put off what you really want, maybe without realizing it? A wise Stoic thinker named Marcus Aurelius warns us about this very thing. Stoic thought says that a person who lives in harmony with himself also lives in harmony with the universe. When we ignore our own nature to please others, we not only lose our identity, we also come into conflict with the cosmos, which they say is rational and orderly. Each time we deny our true selves, we deny the very essence that connects us to the bigger picture of existence. This disconnect shows up in both professional and personal relationships. We need to start by asking ourselves some important questions. What do I value? What are my interests? Am I acting because I want to be liked, or because it's in line with who I really am? Remember that you control your mind, not the outside world. If you understand this, you will find great strength, as Aurelius states. Reclaiming your true self isn't just about being happy. It's also about living in harmony with nature, which leads to a life of virtue and fulfillment. By doing this, you can start to piece together the pieces of your identity again, which will lead to a more authentic, peaceful, and ultimately successful life. People lose trust in their relationships when they change their actions and words to please others. Imagine having a friend who always agrees with you, never challenges you, and shares your opinions, even though you know they have different ones. Over time, wouldn't you start to wonder if they're being honest with you? How can you really trust someone when you think their agreement is just a stunt? Epicus, a staunch supporter of Stoic wisdom. As the saying goes, if you want to be loved, love comes from mutual respect and authenticity, not from a planned exchange of favors or agreeable nods. When someone isn't being sincere, relationships start to fall apart. When people sense that someone isn't being honest, they feel manipulated instead of appreciated, which leads to distrust and a weakening of relationships. Imagine a workplace where a manager always praises their team's ideas, no matter how useful or practical they are. At first, this might make things more pleasant, but soon the team may start to doubt the manager's judgment and honesty. Is indiscriminate praise really the basis of good leadership? Stoic ideals tell us that the answer is a resounding no. If we want to live a happy life, we must. To build relationships based on trust and honest communication, start by looking at how you connect with others. Marcus Aurelius said, "Are you speaking your true thoughts and feelings, or just saying what you think other people want to hear?" Be sincere in everything you say and do. If you follow this rule, you'll not only improve your relationships, but you'll also create a life that is peaceful, happy, and deeply satisfying. Make sincerity your cornerstone, and watch as your relationships grow into real partnerships based on mutual respect and honesty. The third effect, extra stress and anxiety. How often do you stay up at night thinking about what you said in a conversation and wondering if you did the right thing to keep the peace or make someone happy? This constant worry comes from having to figure out what other people want you to do and change how you act to meet those needs. A load that can make people very mentally and emotionally tired. Take the example of Anna, a young professional who always agrees to take on extra work, even though she already has a lot on her plate. She does this out of a fear of conflict, but over time, the stress of juggling too many responsibilities just to avoid saying no has left her feeling tired and tense all the time. Stoic philosophers once said that we suffer more in our minds than in real life. This is especially true for people who put other people's approval above their own. People are often driven by their fears of being rejected and getting into fights. Pleasers put themselves under a lot of stress all the time, which can show up as physical symptoms like headaches and insomnia, or mental health problems like anxiety and sadness. What can we do to stop putting ourselves under so much stress? Stoic principles tell us to focus on what we can control, like our own actions and emotions, instead of worrying too much about what other people think. You can learn to accept that you can't please everyone, and that rejection is a normal part of life. This acceptance can help you feel a lot less anxious because it lets you live more authentically and make decisions based on your values and honesty. Take a moment to think about whether your actions are based on your true self or on your fear of how other people will react. Marcus Aurelius says that people are upset by their own judgments, not by events that happen to them. By changing your perspective and acting in line with your true self, instead of what other people expect of you, you can create a more peaceful, happy, and successful life. This knowledge will free you from the chains of pleasing other people and lead you to a path of less stress and greater personal fulfillment, in addition to the 3 effects listed above. Number 4. Stoic ways to boost your confidence. Stoicism gives us useful ways to boost our confidence by focusing on our own inner power, reason, and pay attention to what you can change. First, focus on what you can control. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, made it clear that some things are under our control and others are not. If you really understand this, you can greatly reduce stress and boost your confidence. It starts with figuring out what you can change and what you have to accept. For example, you can't change the weather, the traffic, or your boss's mood, but you can change how you react to each situation. Ask yourself how often you think about things you can't change in your life and how that affects your emotional and mental health. Shifting your attention to things you can change, like your effort, mood, and honesty, will help you get through life better. That makes you more secure and strong because you stop reacting and start taking action. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Be that man." Let this be a call to action. Start today by thinking about one part of your life that you've tried to control but can't. Then, put your attention on something you can change or improve. This Stoic practice not only makes you less anxious, but it also gives you the tools to live a happier, more confident life. Accept what you can control and let go of what you can't, and watch your life change into a more peaceful, happy, and successful journey. Stoicism is an old Greek philosophy that was started in Athens by Zeno of Citium in the early 3rd century BC. It can help you feel more confident. Stoicism tells people to concentrate on the things they can change, accept the things they can't, and build up their inner strength. By following Stoic principles, you can build a strong sense of self-confidence and be calm when life gets tough. Focus on virtue, not external validation. Stoicism stresses how important it is to develop virtues like justice, temperance, wisdom, and courage instead of looking for validation from outside sources like money or position. Having confidence comes from acting in line with these good ideas, no matter what other people think. Acceptance of outside events. Stoics say that we should be calm when outside events happen that we can't change. When we accept that we can't change everything that happens to us, we stop worrying and doubting ourselves for no reason. As we learn to change and deal with problems in a calm and strong way, our confidence grows. Visualize worst-case scenarios. Negative visualization, which means thinking about the worst-case scenarios to get ready for bad things to happen, is something that Stoicism urges people to do. When we face our fears and think about the worst things that could happen, they lose their power over us, and we gain faith in our ability to get through hard times. To live in the present time and make the most of the here and now is an important part of Stoic philosophy. We can fully focus on our current tasks and goals if we take our minds off of regrets from the past and worries about the future. Putting our energy into doing things that matter and embracing the difficulties of the present moment makes us feel more confident. Accept discomfort and failure. For Stoics, discomfort and failure are not hurdles, but chances to learn and grow. By seeing setbacks as lessons to be learned and pain as a way to grow as a person, we become more resilient and sure of our ability to get past problems and reach our goals. By following these Stoic principles, you can build a stronger sense of self-confidence that comes from being good inside, being able to accept what happens in the outside world, and being strong when bad things happen. Number 6. Do good things and be honest. Stoicism teaches that the only way to really be sure of yourself is to live a good, honest life. Imagine a world where every choice you make is based on honesty. If you were committed to personal growth and justice, how would this change how you see yourself and how you treat other people? Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, said that a person's worth is based on what he values. This means that if you value virtue and act with integrity, your sense of self-worth will naturally rise. Think about a business leader who has to decide whether to cut corners to make more money or stick to ethical practices, even if it means spending more in the short term. By doing the right thing, the leader not only keeps their reputation, but also builds trust by knowing they are doing the right thing. How often do you give up what you believe in? When things get tough, do you go along with the crowd or stick to what you believe? Being good means making tough decisions, sometimes at the cost of personal gain or fame. It means sticking to what is right and having a clear sense of what is right and wrong, that you do the right thing and the rest doesn't matter, is what Marcus Aurelius wrote. Let this be your guide. Start by thinking about what parts of your daily life you can improve to be more integral. For example, you could be more honest in your conversations or more fair in your decisions. If you commit to these virtues, they will build up a deep, unwavering trust in you. Taking on this Stoic practice will not only make your life better, but it will also have a positive effect on those around you, creating a ripple effect of good vibes. Trust that by practicing virtue and integrity, you build a base for a life of peace, happiness, and success. Let your deeds show what you believe in the most, and live a confident life. Morals like being honest and doing good things are important for personal growth, good relationships, and a society that works well. When we act with honesty and kindness as our top priorities, we not only feel better about ourselves, but we also encourage others to do the same. We will talk about what it means to be honest and do good in this lesson. These values can change our lives for the better. Being honest with other people makes them trust you more. People are more likely to respect and value your contributions if they know they can count on what you say and do. Building good relationships, whether they're friendships, work partnerships, or interactions with other people in society, starts with trust. Doing good things like acts of kindness, charity, or just lending a hand makes both the person receiving the help and the person giving it feel better. It helps people in groups feel more empathy, compassion, and connectedness, which makes the world a better place for everyone. Self-improvement and personal growth. Being honest and kind helps you grow as a person. We build a strong sense of who we are and what we're here to do by making sure our actions are in line with our ideals. Every good and honest thing we do gives us a chance to think about ourselves and learn, which is good for our moral and ethical growth. Being strong in hard times. Having strong morals like honesty and ethics can help you deal with tough situations. When we face problems honestly and with integrity, we come out stronger and with our character still intact. Being honest makes things clear and open, which gives us the strength to face problems with courage and conviction. Setting a good example. Finally, when we live by these ideals, we encourage other people to do the same. Our acts have a big impact on the people around us, whether we are parents, teachers, leaders, or friends. Because we promise to be honest and do good, we help build a culture of honesty and kindness that is good for everyone. To sum up, being honest and doing good things are not only the right thing to do, they are also necessary for a full and worthwhile life. By following these rules, we not only improve our own health and happiness, but we also help everyone else. Number 7. Do some daily reflection. Start by giving a short explanation of why self-reflection is important for both personal and professional improvement. Talk about how daily thought can help people get clear, learn more about themselves, and make better choices. Stress that daily thought doesn't have to take a lot of time, but can have a big effect on how you think and act. Set aside time. Stress how important it is to set aside a certain amount of time every day to think. It could be in the morning, before bed, or at a calm time during the day. Set up a routine. Talk about the benefits of making daily thought a habit. Being consistent helps people form habits and make sure that thinking about things every day becomes a normal part of their lives. Focus on gratitude. Tell people to begin their thought by being thankful. Thinking about what they're thankful for can help them feel more positive and full. Look back at the day. Encourage people to think about their day. Get them to think about what they've done well, what they've struggled with, and what they've learned. Ask them things like, what went well today? What did not go as planned, and why? What did the things that happened today teach me? Set goals for tomorrow. As a final step in the thinking process, make plans or set goals for the next day. This could include things like things to do, ways of thinking to adopt, or things that need to be fixed. Outline the main points of the lesson and stress how important it is to think every day. Challenge the people to make reflection a daily habit and see how it changes their lives for the better. Some more tips. Write down your thoughts and ideas in a notebook or use an app for reflection. Try different ways to think about things like writing, meditating, or talking to a trusted friend or guide. Don't be too hard on yourself while you're reflecting. The goal is growth, not perfection. On the path to becoming a better person, Stoicism supports the daily practice of reflection as a useful tool. If you use this method every day, like by meditating or writing in a journal, it helps you really think about your actions and how they match up with your personal virtues. For example, a manager might think about how she led her team each day. Did she be kind and assertive? Did she give them constructive feedback and support when they needed it? By thinking about these questions, she can see both her strengths and the areas she needs to work on. Getting better. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, did this kind of thought and writing every day in his meditations. When you wake up in the morning, think about what a precious gift it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. His words encourage us to value and reflect on our daily experiences and our ability to grow in virtue every day. How often do you pause to reflect on your daily experiences? Do you openly acknowledge your progress and setbacks? This practice not only makes you more aware of your actions, but it also makes you stronger and more resilient. Daily reflection helps us see what we've done well and face our flaws with confidence, which leads to ongoing personal growth. I urge you to follow this serious advice. Every night, take a few minutes to think about your day, what you did well, what you could do better, and how closely your actions matched your true values. Insights and a more peaceful, happy, and successful life can come from this simple habit. Let your reflections lead you to a better understanding of yourself and a stronger commitment to your personal development. Remember that the path to confidence is paved with the stones of self-awareness and growth laid down one day at a time. These Stoic solutions are not just philosophical ideas. They are practical tools that can be used every day to help anyone build a. We've seen how people put on masks to avoid being rejected and to get praise, which means they give up their real selves. Stoicism, which focuses on virtue and taking charge of one's own emotions, is a powerful way to solve this problem. By adopting Stoicism, people can develop a sense of self that isn't based on outside approval, but on self-awareness and personal integrity. At the end of today's lesson, you will have a better understanding of this problem. Think about how your life might be different if you put your values ahead of other people's approval. Imagine the freedom and confidence that could come from making that change. Adopt the Stoic practice of daily self-reflection to fully understand and gradually change your actions and motivations. Let this be the first step toward a more authentic and fulfilling life. If you find these messages helpful, please show your support by clicking like and leaving a comment. Last but not least, if you haven't already, click subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of the great videos we post in the future.